Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going on about a film that was filmed in, I believe, 2007. It was directed by Frank Darabont, and it was based on a novella from the 1980s of Stephen King's. I remember it being on an audiobook, and I remember listening to it as well as reading it myself. But it became a film that I believe had a theater release. It wasn't a made-for-TV movie like some of his films adaptations it became. So, but it stars several interesting people in here.
The Punisher.
Well, the remake of the Punisher.
The Punisher, the only one.
There
Andrea,
are people
Carol.
who actually believe that
If you're fans of Walking Dead, you recognize Carol and Andrea.
But yeah, believe that Thomas Jane is the name of the main character.
Right,
His
like I
name
said,
is
the Punisher.
You got Marcia Gay Harden, who plays Mrs. Carmody, which, if you were along for the ride with us last Monday, Marcia Gay Harden actually played in Miller's Crossing as Verna, I believe. So,
I missed it.
And Laurie Holden as Amanda Dunphy, Andre Braugher as Brent Norton, Toby Jones as Ollie Weeks, William Sadler, who has been part of some Stephen King adaptations, and Frank Darabont. This isn't his only known Stephen King adaptation that he's directed. He's directed The Shawshank Redemption, and he's also directed The Green Mile. He got his start in his career.
I didn't know Shawshank was Stephen King.
Yeah. Shawshank and Green Mile were Stephen King.
I never watched Green Mile, so I don't have an opinion.
Well,
don't feel bad. I didn't know that either one of those were Stephen King at first either.
They're definitely not typical Stephen King movies.
They're two of my favorite movies, though.
Yeah, I watched The Green Mile a while ago, and yeah, I also didn't think it would be a Stephen King story. It's much different from his usual stuff. Actually,
yeah.
It's not even a horror movie to me. The supernatural character is not even bad or anything.
Frank Darabont, he also wrote the screenplay for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994. He wrote something for the Night Shift collection from 1994. He wrote a couple of Tales from the Crypt episodes. He wrote the screenplay for The Fly 2 and the Blob remake. He also wrote the screenplay for Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warrior.
It's the best one. So, makes sense.
But let us see what IMDb says about the film. And then we'll go into our first.
It says, stop reading, go watch it yourself.
Wow, Kroll, you seem to like it.
A freak storm unleashes a species of bloodthirsty creatures on a small town where a small band of citizens pull up in a supermarket and fight for their lives. So, going into first impressions, let's start with you, Boris. Um, was this a first time watch for you?
Yes, it was my first time watch, and I wanted to ask you, what did I do to you that you decided to punish me with this movie?
Why did you hate it?
Uh, no, I'm kidding. Didn't hate it, although at moments it was really sickening. All the bugs and stuff. Well, okay, I'm kind of biased there because I generally hate bugs. So if you want to disgust me and make me feel like throwing up, just show me insects and crap like that. But it was still suspenseful and interesting
Good
from
job,
the
Dave.
beginning. It, it was really interesting from the beginning to the end, but I do have to say that I hated the ending, especially when I found out that it wasn't originally like that, that they changed it to be like that for whatever reason, and it didn't have to be like that, and that's not even how Stephen King wrote it.
I
So
don't,
yeah,
I don't. It felt 100% Stephen King. Like that's exactly what Stephen King would write. The way he writes.
but
Like I can't. I don't think that's true.
from what I read on Wikipedia, that's not
Yeah,
how King.
I think somebody was wrong. Whoever edited Wikipedia was wrong. I mean, I like Wiki, but sometimes they can get it wrong. And that's 100%. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Tammy and Dave. You're both Stephen King fans. Doesn't that feel 100% like a Stephen King ending?
Uh, it
Um,
does, but I think in this
Stephen
case,
King does shit like that.
he does shit like that. Um, as far as the ending goes, no, I don't think it ended like that. Because I read the novel, but
Really.
adapt something to a film, you have to make it your own too.
That's true, but that's weird because it 100% felt like a Stephen King ending.
uh,
Who
yeah,
says
but
that's not a Stephen King ending?
I know.
well,
I heard what you said. That's what I'm
uh,
saying. I don't. It's hard to believe that it's
uh,
not a Stephen King ending.
according to Wikipedia, that's not how Stephen King's story ended, actually.
I get that, but again,
Really?
it feels like a Stephen King ending.
Uh,
It
yeah,
feels like a
yeah,
Stephen
it
King
does.
ending to me too because he's known for those like twists and things and
I mean, the stand they
shocking
changed.
you.
Not the stand. I mean, Cujo they changed because he kills the boy at the end. They changed it because his book was worse. Like, and then they go and change the movie to make it worse than what Stephen King chose. That's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, yeah, it is weird, and I really felt like it didn't have to end that way. Such a
Oh, I don't. I expected it to win, and like, okay, so I was I didn't know it was Stephen King book, but watching it, I'm like, it feels like Stephen King. And then when I noticed that it was Maine, I'm like, oh, this gotta be Stephen King. So when I saw the ending right before I found out it was Stephen King, um, I was like, yeah, that's expected for Stephen King. I mean, it was sad and it was like fucked up, but like I said, that's expected for Stephen King. like most of his
mm,
fucking movies are sad and fucked up endings. Like he doesn't have happy endings, usually. If there is a happy ending, it's odd.
uh, well, from what I read, the ending of the story wasn't exactly happy, but it ended on a hopeful note, not like a complete
Right.
disaster.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
there are happy endings,
the
but
movie left you feeling, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it totally felt like a Stephen King ending. So yeah, that's so weird that he decides to do it one way, and then they brought it, back to the way he normally would do things.
In every adaptation of Stephen King, something is changed, and
Oh, they always do, and
for
but
me,
usually
fans
they
of
make
the
things
novels,
usually they make things a little lighter than what Stephen King does.
fans of the novels, obviously, if one thing is changed, they're gonna go ballistic.
Not all
Uh,
fans. I'm a fan of novels.
but
I
didn't
just don't go ballistic because people need to change it to their vision.
didn't Stephen King's The Shining end on not that disastrous note?
Well, um,
Depends on
The
your point of
Shining
view.
is different because Stephen King actually got angry at the director, and uh, 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 honestly, I think Kubrick was actually being
A dick?
totally insulted because of the way he responded to his adaptation of it. His book ended in fire, where his movie ended in ice. So, but I'm glad we got Doctor Sleep, which kind of like tied it back together and made it all better. So to me, but in any case, um, back to first impressions. Was that the end of your first impression then?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, heading over to the Punisher here. Uh, was this a first time watch for you?
Yep,
And what were your thoughts on it?
I liked it. I mean, it's Stephen King. Watching his movies. I mean, the first thing I saw, I'm like, oh, good. It's not another low budget B movie that you like to throw at us.
Come
If I gotta
on,
watch
I
a horror
like
movie,
B movies
I
too.
rather watch a Hollywood make, and it's definitely a Hollywood make movie.
Well, y-
So
you
uh,
seem to be okay with some B movies I chose.
okay, just because I'm okay with it doesn't mean I love it. Like I said,
Ah, okay,
I
be it
love
your
Stephen King
way.
movies. If I gotta watch horror, I'd rather watch Stephen King. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, yeah, it's basically well, I don't know if you want to call them aliens. I mean, I guess they are, but they're not from outer space. But we won't get into that yet. But
Other
yeah,
dimensional
it's a nice
creatures.
little twist on the monsters. Yeah, I mean they call them supernatural, but I wouldn't call them supernatural either. I start calling. Well, I mean they're monsters to us anyway. Maybe not to wherever they came from,
Yeah, but
but
who is the monsters in here? That's the question.
right. But I'm just saying from wherever they came from, they may not be monsters, but to us they
Uh,
seem like they must be monsters. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story. Thought it was well acted out. Um, it was you think there's this one monster, and all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, there's more than just one, and you're like, what's going on? In this fog, kind of reminds you of the fog, but way different. um, and it's funny how they notice the fog like right off the bat, off the water, and you know and he's trying to explain it, and she's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "I'm not a weatherman," and well, he's sure he's not. So yeah, I'm not sure why she said you sure, but um, and then it's funny though. I don't know if anyone else knows, but I think there's some kind of chemistry between um, Punisher and Andrea, and I'll call her Andrea because that's who she played in Walking Dead. I can't think of her name on the movie, but like as soon as he walked in the store, it's kind of looked at each other like knowingly, like they were familiar with each other, and it seemed like she's not a towner. I I got that impression, and so like he probably doesn't know her, but they just kind of like connected right away. Like you saw that chemistry and stuff. So yeah, I definitely saw like the second he walked in, like before anything even happened, they had that chemistry together. He was saying hi to the his babysitter and uh and then to what the hell's his name? The old guy, glasses, the badass hero of the story.
Uh, Ollie, if
Yeah,
that's
Ollie
Ollie.
what
That's it.
you
Dickinson.
Thank
mean.
you. Yes, and yeah. So yeah, like I said, I like it. Setting was decent. In the grocery store. I didn't read about what the movie was about before I watched it, so I didn't know it was gonna be set in the grocery store first. So it was cool. Few things in it that I'm like, I think seems kind of like a plot hole, but we can get into that later. But definitely enjoyed it. It's definitely a good Stephen King movie. Wouldn't say it's my favorite because that sounds a lot, but yeah, and there's a lot of great Stephen King movies. I mean, there's more great Stephen King movies than there isn't. So, all right, that's my first opinion, first
Okay.
impression.
Heading over to you, Tammy. Was this a first time watch for you?
No, I'm a big Stephen King fan too. Um, it definitely isn't my first. I really did like the movie, but I do, as much as I like Stephen King and everything, I think the movie was a little slow in parts. You know,
True.
um, um, I think we'll get into the movie in a little bit, but I think that one lady, her ranting was a little bit more excessive than it really needed to be in it. But
Oh, I wanted her to die.
Uh,
The
the religious lady.
yes, uh,
nutcase.
Yeah,
but I did like it. I liked the creatures. I didn't like the spire, but I liked the creatures. Yeah,
I
I think
It's a
it was.
bitsy spider scroll up to.
I
I
didn't
liked how
mind
they did.
the.
I had like when they did the close up though of the creatures, and you could see their head and everything, and their heads looked like a skull and things. They did. I thought that was kind of cool when they did the close ups right on them, and you could really see all like the details. I thought that was kind of neat. Um, but yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it. Like I said, I just think that some parts were slower than they really, kind of dragged out, and some parts with certain characters dragged out a little bit more than they needed to be. But other than that, I liked the movie.
So, Tammy, you weren't sickened by those giant insects.
They were cool.
Even you say so, Crow.
Yeah, they were cool, and the spiders didn't really bother me either because they weren't our spiders. Like the freaky thing about spiders is they're real. These
Oh,
spiders are definitely not real.
uh,
But you know what I was saying when they did the close up and you could see their heads and everything, and
Yeah, it was
they
badass.
had like a skull looking thing to their head and
Yeah, it was
everything. It was like,
badass.
mm, yeah.
Insects in general don't bother me.
How's it possible that spiders bother you but not insects? They're kind of not the same, but equally disgusting to me.
I disagree.
I don't like anything that crawls.
I mean, I
Spiders.
don't like fucking cockroaches, but they don't freak me out unless they're giant, like in Damnation.
Yeah, at least in Joe's apartment, they sing.
There's so many of them. It is kind of disgusting in that movie, but that movie is funny, but it's also disgusting.
Okay, that's all I got.
And this wasn't my first time watching this film. I actually saw this movie in the theaters when it came out, and then I ended up owning it, and I really like this movie. It's up there among one of my favorites of Stephen King's. Um, I know that a lot of people, besides Kroll here, think that The Shining is their favorite. It is not my favorite.
Christine. Christine is
Shining's not my favorite either.
Christine is my favorite.
Salem's Lot is my favorite. I love The Shining, but
See, The Stand is my favorite.
My
not
favorite
my
is
favorite.
Christine, and my second is Rose Red.
I assume you mean the original Stand
Yeah, the
with
original
Molly Ringwald.
with Molly Ringwald. Yes.
Christine is not a bad choice.
I only like the. I like the devil in the new one, but I like him. He's a good actor. Not that the devil the devil was good in the original too, but I just like the Skarsgård better in the new one. Other than that, the original was definitely better.
But
Just like the original clown in it is a whole lot better than the remake.
Neither were scary, but I agree.
I like the actor better too in the first one. So
Yeah, the first it was well, both its were better than the remix.
there was, the biggest thing that I didn't like about the new it is the fact that in the very beginning, the boat, you could tell it was like being pulled along, whereas as in the first mini series that came out of it, the boat actually, the little sailboat that went down the gutter, that went naturally down the water in that one, whereas this one you could tell it was CGI'd as fuck. And yeah, although I do kind of like how gruesome the beginning was, pulling the kid down, and the fact that the clown had Leviathan teeth this time. Like if they had done that in the original miniseries and cut off his arm, like you saw, yeah, that would have been awesome in the original miniseries. But I just could not get into that clown in the It movies. He annoyed me. But in any case, I enjoyed this setting. I enjoy because for the most part, it was like a one set location, except for like when they went outside, and for the most part,
In the beginning,
in the beginning, and like towards the end, it wasn't, but for the most part, it was like a one location movie,
Yeah.
uh,
Actually,
with
now
the
that you
fears of people who are trapped inside of a small town supermarket,
actually now that you say it, it somewhat reminds me of the movie Krampus. There,
Yeah, a little bit, because that was kind of like a lot of it dealt with it being inside the house, except for like when they went outside as well. So I could see
there
your
was
point.
many movies like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
there are many movies like that. But
I think it's where they try to save a little bit of money because all the money got put into everything else.
I really like the actors that were involved in this movie, and I really like the creatures that are involved in this. So let's get into the plot. So in the very beginning of the film, um, there it happens to have been a storm that is happening while an artist is painting his latest masterpiece, I guess you would say. And if you notice some of the masterpieces that are already completed, some of them are actually of Stephen King stories. Like you got the Last Gunslinger, who was in the Dark Tower series. That would be Roland. That was a painting or poster of him. If you saw some of those paintings, but you just see the room in which
Yeah,
the
I
artist
pointed that
is
out.
in.
Mm.
You see uh, that he is evidently at work, and then it's the next morning, and he walks. I guess you see David is his name. He's walking outside and looking at the damage that has been done during the storm, and evidently
Down.
his grandfather's tree has pretty much destroyed their home. And
Not the home, just part of it.
well, at least the part that counts,
Studio.
his studio.
And of course the boathouse was
Yeah,
totally destroyed by the
But
neighbor's tree.
yeah. And we find out uh, a little bit now and a little bit later that apparently that they've had some legal issues between him and that neighbor. You know, before. And so I guess he's actually being nice to him and drives him into town with his son, and the wife stays back, and they go to the local supermarket to gather some supplies that they may or may not need. And this is where we are. What do y'all think about that beginning scene, especially since before they leave, they see this fog start to travel over the lake.
Mm. It was an interesting moment when I read the synopsis on
it looks like there was
IMDb.
one hell of a storm.
Yeah, a real spoon down. Uh,
Which, if you know anything about Stephen King adaptations, there was a mini series called Storm of the Century that also involved um, one of the character actors that played in here, called Storm of the Century, and you could almost like do a double feature of that one with this one. But it was a totally different story, totally different town, and but you could almost think that maybe it might be in the same vein of it. Like it could almost be like the storm that happened in the next town over that's spilling into this one. You know, you could almost like think about it that way.
mm,
But so they get into town, and uh, they get to the supermarket, and it's just like any other small town. I mean, these people are getting their groceries. I guess David says hi to the babysitter, like you said earlier, Kroll, and um, I guess there are a couple of military dudes who are, I guess, due to ship out soon because evidently.
Yeah, actually, the main guy, the one who like the babysitter, he played in Doomsday. He played Doomsday in Smallville, and of course he was in the American version of he played the vampire. The vampire, werewolf, and ghost come together. Oh, yeah, I like him as an actor. He's good.
Yeah. So, you also have Ollie Weeks, who apparently he's like one of the head beggars. He's not really a leader.
I thought he was a manager at first.
No,
But I said at first until I
yes.
found out later after he, the boss, the guy kind of was trying to boss him around and he told him off. But yeah, I thought he was a manager at first because he certainly acted like one.
Well, of course, you've got these two guys who act like they're handymen or work in some like auto shop or whatnot who are there. You've got the local crazy woman who seems to spew everything Christianity that you could think of. And when shit starts to hit the fan, she becomes a main focal point because people start listening to her.
Oh yeah, I must say I didn't expect that twist with her. I thought she would be like some somewhat annoying comic relief character. Didn't expect things with her would get that serious.
Oh yeah, there were some regular Jim Jones things kind of happening with her, but in any case, so I guess the first instance that would come to mind, which started the whole thing was um, uh, they started to hear war sirens, and they saw that the authorities outside were rushing past really fast, while I mean, the father with the son, um, he went and grabbed whatever he needed, um, and I think there was something that he had to go do before he met up with his neighbor and his son.
He had to make a phone call because his cell phone wasn't working.
Correct.
The main phone wasn't working either.
Okay, which also led to once he was inside the supermarket, the babysitter also told him the power was out. So if they had to get anything, they had to get things by check, because that's what happens when power outages happen, and you got to go get something. Bring out the checkbook. I mean, it's just like nowadays. Why would you get rid of the fucking like thing that you could like if the electronics go out, don't you want to like continue to have customers?
Yeah.
Some stores don't even carry that shit that would that machine that
Some
yes.
people don't even have checks.
Yeah,
I don't.
some people don't, but it's important to some people. But regardless, yeah, the power is out, and that is the first thing. And then they notice the vehicles that seem to be going past. Then you've got the army guys who evidently are skipping out on their commander before they have to go back out again, and their commander tells them, "Hey, uh, uh, be in and out in 5 minutes. We're leaving."
Correction, he's not a commander. He's a military police.
he's in charge of them.
He's
and
military,
he's
police, military, and police are the enforcers of all the military. They're like the regular police, but the military.
well, regardless, he's telling them to be in and out in 5 minutes, and I guess the one
Because
guy.
they were supposed to go on shore leave, and he said the offshore leave was canceled. He doesn't know why, but they need to meet him at the vehicle in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And they
So,
said, "Damn it, we almost made it out."
and then of course the mist comes in, and that's when you have the older gray-haired man run towards the store, saying there's something in the mist. And then shortly after that, you've got a mother of some kids who wants to go out. Since her kids, she asks the people in the market to help her, and nobody wants to help her. And so she goes out.
And again,
Um,
Carol. This is Carol from Walking Dead. So
and she's probably just dead, not walking.
yeah, we don't actually see what happens to her. We just assume that she probably died.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's when the power entirely goes out, and or is they're worried about the generators. So they go into the back room, and there's a couple of them back there, including David and those two handymen dudes, and I guess one of the youngest baggers or workers in the supermarket. And
Shermanator.
yeah, um, he wants to go out and check it, and the handymen are like dead certain that there's nothing out there. And the Shermanator ends up going out, trying to go out there, and he gets grabbed by some tentacle-looking creature. What do y'all think about that first monster that we technically see?
Oh, I mean, we didn't get to see much of it. Just the tentacles until the end. But yeah, it was. I was really wondering what the rest of it looked like. Was it? It kind of made me think of Lord of the Rings with the thing that grabbed Frodo. Um, but yeah, this one was even worse than that though, because it like hit him and was like cutting his leg and then his chest, and trying to drag him. And
It's
yeah,
a kraken.
it was a really good scene. It was funny how the handymen were big men when it came to trying to put their will out on Dave when he was telling them not to open the door. But
Well,
when it came to try to help save the kid that they were sent out there, no one
yeah,
would fucking move until
he heard something.
all he came to help. But he's yelling, "Somebody help me! Somebody help me!" Help him. And
Yeah,
it
he had
was,
heard something before that didn't sound right. Like before they even opened the things, so they didn't believe him. You know.
they didn't believe him. And of course they end up he ends up like he played he played Sherman, aka the Shermanator in American Pie. So that's why I said he got Shermanated. As that's what he liked to say, as when he was trying to hit on women, which never worked until it worked on Nadia. But that was so anyways, they end up shutting the door on the creature. The creature moved his tentacles back. They got a little piece of it with an axe, and and then they got the guys like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, blah, 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 trying to make excuses, and it's where David lost his temper and hit him and started beating him a little bit until he got pulled off of him, and he had to calm down. The other guys, still trying to make excuses and stuff, and he's just like, why don't you get out of here, like, I tried to tell you, um. He's like, that freak out was great. He's dead. And I got his blood all over me. Like literally
Oh,
had the
no.
kid's blood on him. Yeah, definitely spit out. And then he's like, "Don't tell anyone yet," because they wanted to figure out how they're gonna tell people.
Yeah, I must say, although that creature, as it was the biggest, it was probably supposed to be the most dangerous and the most intimidating, but to me personally, that one looked the least terrifying of them all.
I think he was pretty terrifying looking, to me.
Yeah, but the insects looked nastier to me.
I mean, they kind of remind me of Genosians, so.
Well,
Of
and they
what?
kind of showed
Genosians.
the tentacles had like several like when the first tentacle showed itself, it showed like it was like almost alien. I mean, it had
Well,
several.
they were alien, but they weren't from outer space. They were just from a different dimension.
Uh, if I can be honest, those tentacles made me think of seafood.
Like it made me think of the creature from Lord of the Rings.
But in any case, they kind of have to say something too, like one of them, and the person that they try to tell is so
The
totally not
neighbor,
believing.
the
Yeah,
neighbor.
the neighbor, and
He thinks it's a big. It's big. They're
Joe.
pulling a big joke to make him look like an idiot because he won the court case, and he's like, David, I thought you were being nice, but you're not, and they're in on it, and so he's he's a lawyer, big shot lawyer from New York. So he's scared like everybody else, but he's trying to use logic to explain things, and these people are bringing something in that he doesn't understand or can fight at all. So his mind just won't even accept it. You can't really. It's not 100% his fault. It's his mechanism for dealing with shit. Like this isn't real. This isn't supernatural, even though this fog is definitely something fucked up about it. Like,
Which
he won't let it believe that it's something like that. So,
pushes the neighbor to take several people that he's gathered to himself.
well, before that, they actually tell the entire store to come here, and they told the entire store what was going on. And even then, the lawyer guy still believed it was David's hoax, like he's trying to pull it on everybody.
Well,
Which,
yeah, he does take that
because
boss
it's his
guy.
mechanism.
Yeah, he does take that boss guy back there and shows him the tentacle, but the tentacle also, uh, as soon as they touch it, it like turns into some
Yeah, it disintegrates
yeah,
and
and
turns
he
into
comes
like
back out and said,
fog. And
"Oh, there's something definitely going on."
yeah, we definitely have a problem or something like that. Yeah, I loved when Ollie told him to shut the fuck. He's like this could be your job or something. He's like, you know what? And you can shut the fuck up. He just I was like, shut the fuck up and listen. And that's when he finally agreed to go back there. But yeah,
But
Mm,
yeah,
yeah,
ultimately the neighbor does gather a couple of people to him and say, "Hey, we're gonna go try and find some rescue people. We're gonna bring them back to you." And one of the guys that keeps saying to the Christian lady, to shut the hell up. He's a biker dude. He said that he would actually go with.
David actually had said, "Oh, do me a favor when you go out there, tie this rope around your waist so we know exactly how far you can get before you get killed." And he looks at him like, and then that's when the biker dude's like, "I'll do it," and like, you're throwing in with him. He's like, "No," but getting that shotgun out of his truck will be, sounds like a good idea. He's like, "I saw where you parked when I came in, so go get it." And the older
you got
guy's like, "Do you got balls of steel or something like that?" And young man or something, and he hands him the keys and tells him where the rounds are, so he can get them. And they tie the rope around his waist, and we see all of them go off, and he goes off towards the truck, and the other ones go off. And
and he
it's the last
gets
time
about
we see them,
200
we
feet.
don't know what happened to them. We can assume they all died horrible deaths, but we don't even know what happened to them. It's like Carol, or we'll call her Carol. With this guy, we actually know that something got him because the rope started flying, and and then they kept pulling it and pulling and pulling, and they finally pulled it. They found the blood, and they kept pulling more, and then half the body came back. The bottom half of the body came back with it, and that was a great scene. I love that scene. Probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
Well, yeah, I thought they were gonna like end up pulling a creature or something. That was my first thought.
I thought they were gonna pull. I thought they were gonna pull the creature with the guy, the dude in its mouth, something.
Well,
but it's just the bottom half and that they're dragging back.
actually, I did expect they would just pull a part of the guy's body back, or maybe the whole body, but in a horrible condition
Nope,
or
just
That's
something
not a
like
very
that.
healthy way to lose weight.
Just a pair of
Hey,
frog legs.
if he was a sailor, he'd be half off.
Well, at least this wasn't one of those movies where the black guy dies first.
We don't know if he died. We just yeah.
Well, and
There's
meanwhile,
a couple of black guys with him.
while all this is happening, the one lady, she starts to spew how it's the end of days, and
I know she was Old Testament freak.
yeah, she was.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. The biker dude said that to her. He's like, I believe in God too, just not the vengeful
Bloodthirsty asshole.
asshole that you do.
Yeah,
I like that line.
that woman was hilarious. She reminded me of a certain Croatian
Oh
YouTuber whom I watched for fun.
no, she was not hilarious. She was a fucking nutcase. I couldn't wait for her to get it. I knew she'd get it. Wasn't expecting how she got it, but I knew she'd get it.
Well, okay, later she did get a little more psychotic, but at first I really found
She
her
was
funny.
psychotic from the beginning, but she did get worse. You're right, but she was psycho from the beginning.
Yeah, but I really loved some moments with her, like when she got slapped or when someone
Oh, I
threw
love that
something
moment too.
and hit her in the head. I forgot what it was
Oh,
they
the old
threw at
dude
her.
smacked her and said, "Stoning people." The old woman, I mean, stoning people is in the Bible. If you don't like someone, stoning them is in the Bible too. That was great.
Yeah.
And I got plenty more cans where I get from.
Oh, that old lady had some spunk, that's for sure.
Oh, I love that old lady. She had another great fucking moment too when she fucking flamethrowed the fucking spider.
Yeah. And when
Old
they
people in this movie had some balls.
yeah, and when they shot the religious nutcase to death eventually, that was great
Ollie.
too.
That was great. I mean, first he shot her. I'm like, yes. And then she seemed like still alive, and he just like, fuck this, boom, right in the head. I was like, headshot.
Spudow!
That's what I typed for now in the chat. that moment.
uh, oh yeah, so she can be with her god.
Yeah, you're so happy with him. Meet him now.
So I think after that moment where they dragged that bottom half back is when they started to gather up like all the lights that they could find in the supermarket
And the dog shit,
and the
the
dog shit
fertilizer, whatever.
like pack it up against the
And they
front end.
taped the windows, which, like I was saying, this to me felt like a huge plot hole. Like the size of that fucking first monster. Okay, the tentacles. You couldn't see how big the monster actually was when we just saw the tentacles. Again, we didn't see how big it was until the end. I think if the monster wanted to get in there, he could have smashed those windows easily. Like I
In
think,
the front maybe, but we never saw the way the back looked. And this was supposedly like near the loading docks, okay, of the
right,
store.
but I'm talking about if it wanted to get in there, it could have gotten into the front easily. Like the tape wasn't gonna help. At the point the guy got cut in half, the only thing they knew about was the big giant creature with tentacles. They didn't know there was any other creatures out there, or at all. They only knew about the, oh, not most, only a couple of them knew what it was, but they only knew that one creature. They didn't know there was other creatures out there until after that scene. But they're all taping the window and everything, and I'm just like, yeah, it's gonna help. Which of course it didn't, And they did finally break through the glass, the other creatures. But I was just saying, like the entire build, like when the building got shook, and like it was an earthquake. I think they could have destroyed that building quite easily. But then again, we wouldn't know the story. But just wanted to point that out. You gotta suspend a little bit of disbelief for that purpose. As far as the other stuff goes, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, don't fuck with other realities. That's all I gotta say about that. We should have learned enough of that from other TV movies. Like you know what's out there. Don't just because you wanna open a window out, like the one thing the woman was right about, like when he said they opened a window and he said that became a doorway, which it did. Which I mean, and look what they let in. So yeah. But go ahead, continue on.
So I believe after they had pretty much sandbagged the front of the store with those doggy the dog shit and all that, well the dog food, um, they ended up gathering all the lights that they could. I think they even had some like workers lights that they like set up in the back. That I guess was an okay idea at the time, but they didn't realize that these lights would attract.
Can we mention the bathroom scene, because that was like one of the best lines I've ever heard.
Oh, you're talking about the bathroom scene where the lady is praying to God
Yeah,
that if she could save some people because she's questioning herself. She's questioning what her role is in this whole facade because she's she's thinking it's the end times and she has this like really good relationship with God and shit. She thinks that she's
but yeah, the
chosen.
Andrea's character came in and was like, if you basically, if you ever need someone to talk to, whatever, she'll be your friend, and being trying nice, and then she's like, don't be condescending to me, and just being so nasty back, and then she says, if I need a friend like you, I'll squat down and shit one. I mean, that was such a fucking insult. That was the best insult I've ever heard. That was great. I mean, she's a total douche, but that was such a great insult. I had to mention it.
I almost forgot about that too until she said it again. Until she said it, I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
because I
that
had
was.
forgotten about that insult actually until she did it. And I was just
Oh,
like,
that
man.
was such a great fucking insult. I don't want to forget that one. It's a good one. All right. That's all I wanted to mention.
Yep. But they didn't realize that the gathering all these lights and having them up like by the front would like attract these like gigantic looking like
Is that
they have to be like something in between like a giant locust or a giant fly, you know.
Uh,
I just call them giant
They weren't
insects.
quite,
gi- giant fucking abominations.
and it's not like these guys, these bugs were entirely attacking them. They were just like attracted to the light. It's the fact that there are these other gigantic bugs that were eating them. It's like
But
they were their food, you know.
later on, the bugs attacked them too when they smashed the glass and when
Well,
they
they
flew
only
in.
attack once they get inside, and I believe it's the babysitter girl that gets bitten.
Yeah, she was in the
And
first one to attack those. So someone else gets attacked first, and then she gets attacked. Yeah, she gets bitten in the neck.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we kind of skated over the fact that she kind of had a moment with the military guy.
Yeah,
The
she's like, why didn't you ever ask me out? Ask me out. I know with all the little flirting we do, and I know you like me. And he's like, no, I'm stupid, and she just walks over and kisses him. At least she got a kiss before she bit the big one, or got bit by the big one.
Yeah.
Hey, she died quick too.
Yeah, because as soon as she was bitten, her body started to change, and the bite became more prominent, and she did not look like pretty at
Yeah,
all.
like her whole face swelled up, like she was allergic or something.
But
Uh,
Yep.
and there was another
Nobody had
guy,
an EpiPen to give her.
and there was another guy who tripped over a bucket
He
and
kicked the bucket.
self on fire, and it's this guy that got like burned to a crisp that they.
Oh, that was but and then the
Buddha!
idiot, instead of stop, drop, roll like we're all taught as a kid, runs around smashing into everything, fucking setting more things on fire.
Yeah, which
And
kind of
then
like
somehow a bug goes to the fucking crazy lady, and she starts like praying, like, "Oh, this is my time. Take me, blah blah blah," and I'm judged. And the creature, like the insect, goes up to her and then just leaves her alone. I was just like, "What the fuck? Come on!" So of course
Uh,
that makes her even more convinced that she's correct,
yeah, to the others
and
because evidently that was a sign that she was chosen.
that she has. Yeah, it reminds me of Buffy of the freak that was just like her became a vampire. He's like, I have been chosen. I have been judged and chosen.
actually, I read some theory online that when they changed the ending where the kid and the woman die at the end, that they were actually trying to portray that the crazy lady was right all along.
Oh,
Okay.
you mean
That's
in the
not
original story?
confirmed. That's just someone online theorizing, but. Yeah, like the fact that when the mist started to subside once David killed everyone in the car, and the crazy lady said that God demands the child and the woman to be sacrificed, and when they died, that's when the mist started to subside. So
Yeah, well, people in their theories can are crackheads, so
which I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've read the story, but it sounds fairly similar to what the ending really was. But I'm fine with this ending. The way that
it felt like a Stephen King ending.
it felt like a Stephen King ending, yes, and that's why I'm fine with it.
Was it fucked up?
Didn't
Yes.
read it that
Was it
way.
very fucked up and not a good ending?
It
Yes,
still
but
was in the
that's
vein
Stephen
of what
King.
Stephen King would have done. You know.
Mm,
You don't expect good
yeah.
endings. I was like, wow, fucking hey, that was. And I actually guessed it. I guessed the ending. As soon as they pulled the gun out and they were like, oh, well, there's 6 of us. I was like, oh, he's gonna shoot them all, and even his son, and he's not gonna have a bullet left for himself because he's sacrificing, not killing himself. So and then they're gonna get saved or something, or he's gonna get saved or some the good things are gonna be gone, and yeah, that's what happened. I was like, oh, that is so fucked up. That is so fucked
What
up. Then I'm
was
thinking,
what was that?
I was actually expecting the military to arrest him, um, because he shot those people and his kid, but they
Well,
didn't do that. But yeah,
I imagine they knew what was happening,
it
and
doesn't
probably
matter. It doesn't matter that he still shot them.
um,
He was still accountable for it.
Yeah, well,
um,
I'm sure it's something that they will never find out that he was the one who did it or
Of
what.
course, they will.
well, he would probably say that he did it, although I can imagine they
The
would.
gun was right there in the freaking car.
I imagine they would
Well,
probably.
it's the military. They're trying to clean up their own mess anyway. Ways. Do you really think they want
I get that, but I'm just saying, you know, I was surprised they didn't arrest him, but
I
Okay,
was
yeah, maybe.
that whole thing would be swept up under the rug because the whole reason why the creatures even exist is because of their fuck up. So
probably.
I
as we find out, I mean, after well, let's go backwards a little bit because we're getting ahead of ourselves. So
okay, yeah.
after the dude gets burned to a crisp, he's not quite dead, but he's getting there. They decide that they're going to take a group of people to go over next door to the pharmacy that's next door because they think that there's medication there and stuff that they could get to help them over there. Well, before they even is it yeah before they even get out, the crazy lady shows up because she finds out that they're about to leave, and that's when they have their confrontation, or is it when they actually come back?
No, it's later. It's later when they decide they're gonna leave
Okay.
for good.
Well,
I mean,
regardless,
she still says something about it, and they just kind of, tell her to shut the fuck up and move. And at this point, she don't have any followers, so it's not like a big standoff yet. That's later,
yeah.
because
Well,
the other guy, the worker, ends up joining her flock, but this is where he ends up losing his mind and joins her flock because they even say
that's
that
right.
he wasn't the same after the pharmacy. He just kind of lost it. Meaning,
Yeah.
you have to be fucking
When they
crazy
go
to
over to the
believe
pharmacy,
that woman.
at first, it seems like everything's going their way.
Yeah, it's like
They
it
find a
just seems
couple of
wow.
things,
It's empty. Like they left the
but
door
then they
open,
look up.
but it's empty. Yeah.
But then they look up, and all the cobwebs and all the people wrapped in those cobwebs, and then one that military dude that we saw before
Yeah.
was there, and he
Yep.
was
And he's saying, he says, "I'm sorry, it's our fault."
this is when they first hear about the project that was up on the mountain.
No, they knew about the project because
Well, they'd heard
they just didn't know what it was.
they'd heard rumors.
Arrowhead project. And he said, "I'm sorry, it's our fault." And of course, they didn't know exactly what he meant, and they tried to cut him down, but yeah, it was a little bit too late for him, and yeah.
And his body split open, and all those micro spiders started flowing
Of course,
out.
before that, some bigger spiders started coming after them, and they had to fight them off, and a few of them didn't make it.
Yeah,
And
that
that one
webbing
dude,
was toxic, man.
Yeah, when they
that
got hit with
webbing
the
was awesome.
webbing, it
The
was
fact
like
that
acid.
they shot it out, and it was like acidic.
Yeah, it was like acid. It would burn as soon as
Like
they got on them.
you could see the webs shoot out.
Yeah, it was really cool the way they did that. I really love when they're like, "We got to get out of here," and they're going, and then there's a giant spider in front of them, and the old lady's there, and she has hairspray or something in the lighter, and she use it like a
And the
flamethrower,
old
and
guy
fries
in the
the
mud
fucking
too.
spider. Yeah, and then Leo, of course, Leo shot the first spider that they saw, big spider that they saw, and then he shot a few others, and then the end. Oh no, not the end, but I mean when they went to get out, there's another big spider in front of them, and he goes to shoot it, and they're out of bullets. And then I looked away for a second, and I looked back, and they were already back at the pharmacy, so I actually missed how they got out. They just
The
ran
old
for it.
guy, the old guy, he ends up spearing that one with that spear of his that he had,
I
and
didn't,
that's when
I didn't see the spear, but that would have been cool. I wish
they ran
wish
back.
I'd seen it.
Yeah,
I
he
looked away
speared
for
him
a
really
second.
good. He
I
really
looked away.
speared him.
I looked away for a second. I was like, "God damn it!"
He surprised himself too.
Yeah, he's surprised.
Yeah.
I think like everybody, even us watching, the way he speared that thing and just,
I missed a good scene. God damn it!
Oh yeah, it was nasty.
Well, anyways, they run back, and the old guy says, "They're all dead. They're all dead." And somewhere between them getting back and the next scene, to me at least, is when the military guy gets like caught up in the whole like mob.
Well, he went with them because he volunteered because he's
And
from
actually,
that town, and he liked the girl that
in
got
a
killed.
deleted scene, he was forced to come with.
And of course, when they got back, they were looking for his friends, and they go into the back, and they found them hung. And he's like, "I didn't believe it. They said they were going to do it, but I didn't think they would." And that's when they start asking him, what's going on? Like you know something. Like they could tell he knew something. And the utility worker dude, whatever the hell he was, he came in, he heard it, and he grabs him and drags him out, and says it's his fault, it's their fault, blah blah blah. And they basically they crucify him without putting him on a cross, but they after accusing him, and you could all see it coming because she kept saying they need a sacrifice and all that other shit, and he's being blamed for it, and he was there and he heard stuff, but because you hear stuff that
See
doesn't mean it's
meat
real,
guy,
and then they realized some shit was going down. That's why they were trying to get the hell away from the base in the first place. And so they basically call him Judas and blame everything that was going on him. And one of the dudes, someone just fucking started stabbing him and killed him. And well, not killed him yet, but stabbed him. And they all carried him out and threw him outside for the creatures to get him. And David tries to stop him, but they stop David because there's nothing you can do against that big mob and stuff, and they gets thrown up. He stand up. He's like, Please let me bang," and he's still stabbed, and he just looks, and then the a big creature just grabs him up, and I think that might be the first creature that we saw with the tentacles. Not sure if it was the same one or not, but we
No, I
see the
think
creature
there was
just
a winged
grabs him and
something.
pulls him up and takes him away, and
It was something winged. It
and
looked
then
like similar to like a dragon or something like that.
and then yeah, and then the woman's like, "See, we'll be good tonight. No more sacros, though. They have been appeased, and we'll see about tomorrow." And you know, yeah. So
And I know that Andrea. I know you keep referring to her as Andrea.
yeah, I don't know the name from the
There's
movie,
Amanda
but
in here.
yeah.
Amanda says it's only been 2 days. The fact that it's only been 2 days because and it took only 2 days for people to.
Yeah, like they had that discussion where Dave's like, she's gonna start getting more people, and they're gonna start fucking being like the way they were, and she's like, no, people are generally good, and they're like, not when it comes to like when you start taking away all your 911 and all your creature comforts, and leave you to you become primal, and exactly right. Doesn't take very long for people to revert to their primal instincts, no matter how civilized they think they are. And that's it. It's been proven time and time again that's 100% true. Whether it's a couple days or 3 or 4 days or whatever, it does not take very long for people to start freaking the fuck out and resort to
Violent.
being yeah, violent and primal, and you got someone trying to lead them, even if that person's a complete loon. You all of a sudden start thinking they're right, and we're going to follow this person because people need someone to lead. They need someone to follow, and like I said, there's wolves and there's sheep, and most people are sheep, and obviously she was the wolf,
I
and they
know I
followed
kept
her.
asking
You know,
Tammy, would she rather be someone who went off like in search of rescue or someone who went and got medicine or whatnot, or would you stay the fuck inside the supermarket? And she said she'd stay inside the supermarket.
Uh,
I stay inside the fucking supermarket too. But not because I
if
believe the crazy lady, it's because I'd be too scared to go outside.
if the crazy lady was a wolf, they would have been better off following this wolf.
I figured, if the crazy lady basically turned everybody, like David said something about her, and I said, well, you just pretend then. You pretend to go along, and that's that. That way, they don't turn on you if you pretend, you know?
Exactly. We can pretend to follow the crazy bitch.
Right.
So
You don't have to be up there chanting with everybody else and getting all up in a big thing. There was people that were listening that were standing in the back and weren't saying anything. You just be one of them.
Yeah, they were probably like, this bitch is fucking crazy, and they're probably crazy, but they're probably right. But I'm staying the fuck here because I don't want to go anywhere. So they weren't with her. They were just not with them the others either. They were just there. That'd be me too. Just there in the background, not choosing sides.
unless they noticed you were choosing sides. But
No, I said not choosing sides.
in any case, they decide that at least their group of people, they decide that there is a vehicle that they can get to that is not only
His vehicle. Dave's
his
vehicle.
vehicle, which I think is some kind of like Hummer Jeep. At least that's what it looked like. Um, and when they try to leave, I guess that's when is the final confrontation.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's sitting in front of the door and saying, "You guys won't leave, and you can't leave." And they had put groceries up by the head cashier, and the groceries were gone, and they're like stealing food. And then she went in a whole speech how they can't leave, and he's just like, we're just trying to, you know, get out, and that's it. Like, do your thing, do what you want to do, we're just trying to do our own thing. And then they get violent, and they start talking about sacrificing them, which I said that in the beginning. As soon as she started talking about needing blood sacrifice, they're gonna end up trying to sacrifice them
yeah,
of
'cause he's
course.
like, give me
And
the
again, I'm thinking they're probably gonna go after him and the little boy. So they're
give
probably
me
gonna
the
want the
child.
I said, oh, they're probably gonna want the little boy for some reason. I just knew that they were gonna want the little boy. And then the first thing they said was take the little boy. And then of course Amanda was protecting him, and she said, take the whore too. Um, for whatever reason she thinks she's a whore. Um, so yeah, and he's like Dave's like he could try, and he's like has a pole. And it was a nice fight scene. And then until Ollie shot the fucking crazy ass bitch in the stomach, and that was great. And she's like clutching her stomach, but she's still alive. And he was like, boom, and shoots her in the head, and threatens a couple other people that looked like they were coming towards him, and they just backed the fuck off. They're like not gonna fuck with Ollie with his gun, and they end up leaving, and make it towards the truck, and they get to the truck. But
But
fortunately, this is where Ollie gets it, and that was very sad, very very sad. Ollie was my hero. He, I really like that old guy. Like he was badass.
Yeah.
He stepped up right from the
yep, he
beginning. He
did
was
that.
right there.
Well, others get it because the one older guy who was with them, he gets eaten by the spiders or whatnot.
Yeah, and the manager got eaten as well.
Well, the manager actually makes it back to the store.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was thinking. I didn't think they were
The
going to
guy
let him
that
back
was
in.
injured.
I didn't think they were going to let him back in, but they did. I
Uh,
thought they were.
the guy that was injured, he got it though.
Yeah,
Though.
he was the second one to get killed. After
And so
Ollie.
the first place
So
that
they got into the vehicle, and then of course David's like honking because he wants them to find them, but obviously it's too late. And then he knows the gun is on the hood, so he goes to try to get the gun, and one of the insect creatures jump from the vehicle and stuff, and he grabs the gun. But they finally able to drive off.
Yep. And they drive. The first place that they drive to is actually
It's his house.
his house, and he sees that his wife is like trapped in this web.
The spider dead
Yeah,
trapped
she's
in the
dead.
spider web. And he says something about he
First,
promised
I thought,
he promised to fix the hole or whatever. But I mean, it just happened, so it's not like that. I must do it. I mean, it just happened. He went to the store to get some stuff for them, and he was gonna fix the hole. I mean,
yeah, but
Oh yeah, now
they've already been at the store for like 2 days.
now when you say that, that woman who left the store at the beginning, never appeared again.
Oh, she did.
Then
Carol.
She did.
she
Right.
did.
Yeah.
When?
If you noticed, like after the police showed up to
The
him,
police. What police?
the army dudes,
Oh, the military.
yeah, the
Totally different.
military showed up. You saw a whole bunch of wagons that people survivors were in,
I
and
did not see that.
they showed that woman with her children on one of those wagons.
Yeah.
Oh,
As,
Cool. She
as
made
he
a
was
home. She
riding
made a
back
home to her
to the
children.
path, she was
See, Carol's
And
always a
she was
badass.
looking at him like, I told you so.
Carol's
Yeah.
always a badass.
She didn't say it,
Oh,
but she was looking at him like, I told you so. Like,
Told him what?
that went over my head.
He was he wasn't trying not to help her. He was just trying to look out to his son. You know, he wasn't he wasn't. You know, nobody else would help her, and they weren't trying to watch for the kids. They was watching out for himself. He was actually watching out for his kid. So you know, he had an excuse.
he had an excuse, but the proper human response would be to help others.
Right, but nobody would.
That would be the proper response, and nobody did. So
Again, he was
respect,
protecting others. He was
I
protecting his
in
kid.
that respect, even though I care about the main character and I care about some of the
Nope,
other
he was
characters,
protecting his son.
I still think he could have
Nope, he was protecting
chosen.
his son. Nope, he was there to protect his son.
Sorry, he could have chosen what? I didn't
He could have
understand.
chosen to go and help her and protect his son at the same time.
Nope. How the hell would he have done that?
Tammy, don't you think that he could have?
How would he have done that? If you think he could have done that, how would he have protected his son and gone and helped the woman?
I don't think he should have gone and helped her because he was protecting his son.
Okay. Well, I still think that the first human notion should have been to help her in some way.
There was plenty of other people and plenty of other men there
Exactly.
that they
Well,
could have.
That's what I'm
Somebody could
saying.
have gone out
There was
there.
plenty of people that could have helped her.
Why should he risk losing his life and then his son wouldn't have anybody?
And also, if he had gone out with the woman, chances are they both would have gotten
Right,
killed.
exactly. And what was he supposed to do? Take his kid with him? So all three of them gonna get killed?
No,
of course not.
he could have gathered a whole bunch of people with him and rallied a leading effort. Okay, let's all go.
So they all get killed.
No,
Yes.
What would have saved them from getting killed?
hey, she was saved.
That was
She
luck.
obviously got saved somehow.
That was luck.
Huh.
Her and her kids were on board that wagon, so she survived. So going at that moment, I think totally that there was a possible chance of survival.
Who?
She survived. How the fuck did she survive? She should have been dead.
I
Going
I
The
wonder
creature wasn't hungry
honestly.
anymore.
There's plenty of people that survived that shouldn't have survived. That
right.
doesn't mean that doesn't mean everybody survives. No. Doesn't mean there's a couple lucky. There's a couple
dude who
people that
lost his
survive
shit.
and everybody else doesn't.
The dude who lost his shit should have died somehow.
And wait, who are you saying that survived and shouldn't have survived?
No idea.
Who?
I don't think that the dude who lost his shit should have survived
Um,
in a way, shape, or form. The guy who was screaming.
Many of them lost their shit, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
It's hard not to think of this guy, the guy who totally misbelieved David, William Sadler's
Oh,
character, about the Kraken creature and got the kid killed. Terminator.
the black guy.
No. The utility
Well,
worker dude.
The utility worker dude.
Oh, well,
The
when
one
you say
the one
guy
David
who,
punched.
The
And
guy
did
that David punched.
uh,
The one who
not
turned
sure.
and actually started listening to the preacher lady.
Ah, I think I remember.
Yeah, he at first he was all totally completely against her, and then after they came back from the pharmacy, he went and turned tail and started being an advocate for her.
He lost
Oh,
his marbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other
He-
guys said, that he turned after the pharmacy thing that he lost it, and that's why he was going, totally an advocate for her now.
uh,
Yep.
yeah, there were a lot of characters in that store, so it was difficult to memorize them all from only one watching.
He was very much a character that I could set apart from the other people. So,
Speak for yourself there, Philip.
Uh,
but in any case, we do get the whole fact that and I think we've kind of covered this, but he ended up having like 4 bullets. They ran out of gas, and he ended up having only 4 bullets for 4 of them.
5
And
of them.
well, for 4 bullets for 5 of them, and one of them had to.
He says,
Um,
I said, we'll figure out something. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna shoot them and leave himself to being killed by the monsters or whatever, and have to deal with what happened. And that's when I was like, yeah, but he'll
and
probably get saved.
from the noises, you think that a monster is coming, you know,
Yeah,
but
he shoots everybody, and and then
2 seconds later,
he's
the
no. At
military.
first, he screams because he just not only has murdered a few people, but he murdered his son as well, and then he throws he tries to shoot himself and there's no bullets, but and then he throws the useless gun away. That's when he steps outside and yells, "Come get me! Come get me!" And the military shows up. That's when he really starts screaming even more like
I
why
did
now?
this
Now
all
you
for
guys come.
nothing.
Yeah, I just killed my son and those people for nothing after losing my wife. Like, yeah. Fucked
yeah.
up ending, but again, Stephen King. Like, and the fact that he didn't write it that way, it just has me flabbergasted. Just completely flabbergasted. Completely feels like Stephen King. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it definitely does feel like a Stephen King ending, even though that's not the way it ended in the novel. But it was a good ending. Well, not a good ending, but it was
It was
a
a Stephen King ending.
yeah,
Even if it wasn't Stephen King who came up with
it was an
it.
ending, and if you were unhappy with it, then I guess it
And
did.
and the thing about it, I mean, the crazy woman wasn't right, but all those people in the store probably survived as well because they didn't go out.
Do you prefer a happy ending, or do you prefer a fucked up ending?
Oh, I prefer a happy ending, but I don't expect it when it's a Stephen King movie. So, yeah.
Uh, I prefer a happy ending, although generally I can take a fucked up ending when I feel it adds something good to the story, but in this case it just felt like it didn't have to end like that and shouldn't have ended like that. And
Yeah,
especially when
this was a no hope ending. This was a he's fucked ending.
Well, like I said, it turns out the people who stayed in the store, i.e., me and Tammy, would have been safe.
Well, yeah. If we had all stayed in the store, yeah, I'm not. I'm pretty sure that we probably would have been amongst those wagon survivors. But
Yep.
mm,
and
yeah.
there were a ton of people on those wagons, so it looked like the military had actually come through and saved who they could,
Yeah.
But
After that fuck up.
yeah, but I do like the fact that the whole thing happened because of this like project that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Um,
really it was really cool. Oh, you know about as soon as the other
even
dimensions
though
like,
you didn't,
oh, they opened up a window. And
this
that's
is
exactly what
this
they
is a
did.
movie that I would call a slice of life because you're only seeing part of the story, you know, like a side glance of the aftermath of something bad that happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at the end of everything, what did y'all think about the production?
Well,
I'll
I like
start
the
with
production all
Hunter
through the
first.
movie, not just at the end.
Huh?
So I like the production all through the movie, not just at the end.
Okay. Were there things that you liked or disliked of the different characters, or
No, I mean, everyone felt like they played their part, like that crazy bitch. I mean, I've seen the actress in other things, and I ain't want her to die horribly, but she did in this one. So she did her job. She definitely, I definitely, did not like her. If you're not crazy, you shouldn't. You're not supposed to like her. There might be somebody else, some people out there that you know, were on her side and don't think that she should have been killed and everything, but they're crazy. That's my opinion on it. And that worker, I thought he finally had turned to their side after you got the kid killed, but he kind of turned away from him again. I mean, I guess they explained it. He kind of lost his mind after the spiders, which I can understand to a degree. So yeah, but everyone I think was great in it. The kid, although his brief time in the movie was good, typical kid. Oh, he'll volunteer. He's gonna go out there. Calls the older dude that doesn't want to open the door. Pussy,
I love how the kid is all excited that
yeah, and he's and then the look of sheer terror as he's being killed and being dragged off was great. Everybody was definitely did a great job. I think the creatures were done great. They done great detail, and I think that the big monster was definitely pretty scary looking. Um, wasn't really exactly what I pictured, but um, yeah, he was still. Yeah, he was huge and way bigger than way bigger than I thought he was going to be. Actually,
he looked like a half giraffe and half katydid.
yeah, he was definitely huge. He was like pot octopus and He was like they mixed a bunch of creatures together or animals together and make some kind of weird ass creature somehow. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting. All the creatures were the insect like creatures. Like I said, kind of remind me of Genosians and you know, uh, different skin color and stuff. But you know, if you don't know what Genosians are, go watch Star Wars and read some books. But anyways, yeah. Uh, that's what I think. I think the production, like I said, was pretty damn good. This was 2007, so not too long ago. Um, so there isn't that many advances in anything that would make it better now. But I think they did a phenomenal job with it.
Heading over to you, Boris. What did you think about the production?
I think the production was very good. At certain points, maybe too good. Like some of those creatures, as I have already said, almost made me throw up. So yeah, definitely, it was terrifying, but that was the idea. So they definitely did the job well.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, the creatures and the gore and everything. Yeah, as far as production goes, I cannot really complain about anything.
So the disgustingness of these bugs really creeped you out.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit subjective here because even in real life, I really fucking despise such creatures. Uh,
uh, Heading over to you,
So Philip, you say they bug you?
yes, yes.
Heading over to you, Tammy. What did you think about the production of this movie?
I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, it was unique how they basically kept, for the most part, it in the store. You know, you had your moments where it was in the storeroom of the store and the pharmacy, but for the most part, the main part of the movie is they're all in the store and this stuff is all happening. You know, the bugs get in the store, the preacher lady who doesn't want to shut up. Um, but you know, it was kind of neat how they contained it all like that. You know, which I'm sure helped their budget to keep it all like in one place for the most part. Because you kept everything all in one place and things came to that spot. You know, the creatures came to that spot and the bugs came there. You know, the only thing that was different is when they went to the pharmacy, then you had another location. But it was basically right there too, you know. So
Mm,
I
Yeah,
thought production was cool. I mean, one of the moments I liked that I thought was really cool was that humongo thing walking around when they took off. That big creature.
yeah,
That thing was like that reminded me of like War of the Worlds, man.
just
That
a little bit.
that big creature. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really good. And then that ending scene when you see that the military is going and taking care of everything, but it's almost like they're going into another world because you see the road going through the trees like that, that they're following.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was good.
Okay. And me, I thought the production was really, really good. I mean, um, this is the most creatures that I've seen in a Stephen King movie per se, at least as far as like creatures and monsters are concerned. Although I would have to say Dreamcatcher is another one that kind of has that military like project thing going on, and there's some body horror stuff going on. That's what was going on in here. Some body horror.
So vampires aren't monstrous?
See, I like Salem.
Depends what movie you are talking about.
Salem's Lot. They're filled with,
I like Salem's Lot.
vampires. All
Not
the
the
whole
one
town
that I
are
remember.
vampires. They're monsters.
It's not the one that I remember the most.
Again, but you've still seen it, so therefore you've seen Stephen King movie with lots of monsters.
I still think that this one actually has more monsters.
No,
Uh,
not even close.
but in any case, I did like the production. I loved the CGI, and I do think that there were a lot of practical effects in here too. You know, uh, though a lot of the monsters were CGI, some of those flying creatures, the ones on the windows, I swear to God, those were like mechanical. Um,
Oh,
uh, and whatnot, and they some of the ones that were flying inside the store, some of those I think were half mechanical because they had to light them on fire in some instances. So I think they used some CGI and some mechanical robot ones, and they definitely used CGI with the tentacles for the most part, but some of that had to have been some type of like creature rubber, to show that they could axe the darn thing off. And just the way that it was done, it was done really good, and the mist looked pretty creepy. Not that it creeps me out now, but I do like the spider moments when the spiders split out of the bodies and they're crawling all over the place and the dude's screaming his nuts off. You know, I I actually think that whole pharmacy scene is like my favorite scene. I know we're getting into favorites here now, so that's one of mine. But I'll go around and see um, what all the rest of your favorite scenes and maybe a favorite character per se. Let's start with you, Boris. What was a favorite character and our favorite scene?
Favorite character? Whew, good question. Well, maybe. Uh, oh, yeah, definitely. Ollie was one of the best since he shot Mrs. Carmody, the crazy preacher. Although in the first part of the movie, I kind of liked her too. Well, not liked her, but she was funny with her religious nonsense, which I generally find funny. Like I said, there is this person on YouTube I watch for fun who is a lot similar to her, and I also wrote a character in my fourth Total Evil novel that's kind of like that, which is like a somewhat funny villain to me at least. But yeah, maybe if it wasn't for the ending being the way it is, then David would have been my favorite character. But this way, not with what he did in the end. Uh, I also liked Amanda. Mm, yeah, I guess that would be it. And the favorite scene, well, I liked all the funny scenes with Mrs. Carmody when she was getting slapped and hit in the head, and of course when she was shot to death. Maybe that would be my favorite scene when they got rid of her.
Okay, heading
Uh,
over to you, Tammy. Favorite character, favorite scene or scenes?
Uh, I guess the main character David is my favorite because he's the main character, but he's he's involved in everything. He's trying to protect his son. He was up at the beginning trying to tell everybody what was going on, and nobody would listen. It's like it's almost like everything falls on his shoulders, and like he um ends up being a leader without trying to be the leader. And so there's so much put on his shoulders. um Favorite scene? Well, I like the one I just told you about, that big old monster walking. That was cool looking. um as much as I don't like spiders, I like the scenes with the spiders with their webs. When they were
yeah.
shooting those webs, that looked like totally cool.
Mm,
And I like when the first thing hit the window. Man, the guy sat down to eat, and all of a sudden, splat! He,
Put down.
yeah, he just like jumped about 20 feet, man. That was cool.
Okay, is that it?
Yep.
All right, heading over to you, Kroll. Favorite scene and or favorite character?
Favorite characters, Ollie, and of course Dave. I mean, as far as the end goes, he thought he was doing the best he could. He thought he was saving them from a horrendous death. So I wouldn't consider him bad from that. He made a. They all decided, the adults decided that they were going to do, and he didn't shoot himself not to save himself, but to the quite the opposite, to make sure they all were saved from a horrible death. And he was ready to die a horrible death to make sure that they didn't. So he was being heroic, or he thought he was being heroic. So that doesn't change my opinion of him being a great character and a good guy at all. Um, and of course Amanda was just kick ass the way she slapped the lady, and she was just she was nice, and she definitely the one that she wanted to believe in humanity. um Maybe she was slightly naive and she saw right away that she was, but she wanted to believe in humanity. She wanted to be a good person and believe that most people were good and at their core. And you know I really liked her. She was a good character. But like I said, Ollie kicks some major ass, and it was sad that he died. He should have made it. He should have made it out. But yeah. And then I just not a favorite character, but side note, that old lady was pretty kick-ass too. The teacher, she stood. She rambled on once, but besides that, she was pretty strong the whole time, and she went right with them, and she told the other dude that he's going with, like, I had you and your sister in class. Yeah, you were both underachievers. Keep going. And then the way she flamed through the spider too. Yeah, she was kick ass. I just want to mention her. She was pretty kick ass. A lot of kick ass characters in this movie, and memorable ones. And Yeah, as far as favorite scenes go, I guess the as much as I hate spoilers, but they're kind of not really real ones. I mean, they were close, but I don't know. They just didn't really bother me like most do. This whole scene was definitely good. The webbing, the acid webbing, and the spiders coming out of the dude. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen. You saw the one. I'm like, yeah, he's probably gonna fucking explode with spiders or something like that. So again, there's things that are predictable in the movie. At least when you've seen as much shit as I have, it gets predictable. And they that scene, and then of course, like you said, when she gets the lid is not getting beamed off the head with a can from the old lady. Again, the old lady. That was hilarious. That was the best. And then when she got shot, I was like, "Spit out!" And that was
Put down.
and the stomach was cold. I was like, "Yeah." And then she got shot in the head. I was like, "Oh yeah, spit out!" Like that was just like he was just like, she might make it now. Like, no chance now. You're turning into a zombie. Not
Yeah.
they had zombies in this movie, but just in case. Shot her in the head. And he's like, I killed her. And I'm just thinking, yep, you do what you had to do. They didn't want that. They just wanted to be left out. Let them do what they wanted, and they wanted to try to be their freaky selves and sacrifice his kid and all. And yeah, that ain't happening. So she got it, and yeah, definitely. And of course, when Shermanator got it, because that whole scene was great. And I don't know his name.
Yeah,
I can't remember his
that's
name
their
in this, but it was just because he called himself the Shermanator in American Pie, and like I said, in the Shermanator got Shermanated. It's just kind of a funny thing from inside joke from if you've seen American Pie, you know what I'm talking about. So I thought it was funny, so I just had to mention that scene. But yeah, the movie was good. the movie was definitely good. It's a good choice and good Stephen King movie, as just about all of them are. So, yeah, that's my opinion and my favorites.
Okay. And though I mentioned one of my favorites, I do like the tentacle scene, and I do like the the part when they shoot Mrs. Carmody. And though I know it's kind of a fucked up ending, in a way, I'm kind of glad that it went this way because it does make you think, oh, what the fuck, you know. And 2 seconds later, the military shows up, and you know what if you were stuck in this situation and you ended up killing your loved ones, and suddenly help showed up at the last minute, which is in reality what happens these days. Bad shit
I
happens. Police
I
arrive at the
wouldn't
last minute.
I wouldn't have killed them to begin with. I would have
Well,
rather used
it was
those four.
either that, it was either that, or let them get eaten by monsters, which is what they were looking at when the vehicle stopped. They kept hearing sounds like the monsters were nearby.
Well,
Would you rather get eaten by a
why not use those 4 bullets to kill some monsters?
and then be out of those bullets like really fucking fast? Bullets that don't pierce the flesh of these creatures? No fucking way. You only have 4 bullets for yourself. It's either kill yourself or die a most extremely and gregarious death. There is
Uh,
of survival. If
well, it turned out
there is no chance of survival, I'd rather kill myself than let myself get eaten or half eaten by a freaking monster, man.
uh, well, yeah,
I'd rather go out quietly if I knew if I didn't know that I was going to be saved, I would have done the same thing.
well, in my
I
opinion,
mean, if I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen, and I knew that these 4 bullets weren't going to like pierce nothing, like damn, these monsters are like real. These death is real. Death is right the fuck outside the window. You know. Oh God, the car stopped. Oh, we're fucked.
uh, yeah, but I don't know. As long as you're alive, there is hope, I guess. Mm,
In this movie, there is no hope.
well, it eventually
I,
turned out.
I I see it from their perspective. Yeah, okay, they were alive at that moment, but they did all they had were those 4 bullets. These monsters are something that we've never come up against, and every single person that's been outside the vehicle has been picked off one after the other, no matter what fucking weapon they have. You know?
Well, why couldn't they have just stayed inside the vehicle until someone came from outside?
I suppose they could have done that, but then we wouldn't have had such a fantastic ending like that. That was fantastic. I mean, the fuck. I mean, it was fucked up. I agree. He shot all the people but himself. But once he realized that help was like just around the corner,
Uh, yeah, that's.
I mean, once he realized help was just around the corner,
Uh,
I mean, do you Kroll? Do you agree with David's final decision?
Well, like
kill
I
off everyone.
I already said, he thought he was thought he was being a hero, saving them from a horrible death. You know, by a quick and relatively painless death. I mean, you see that happening in a lot of movies where they're about to go. You know, someone who's you know, about to die from zombies or any kind of creatures, and you know they have no chance of survival. They'd rather get killed by a quick bullet than being eaten to death. And I think anybody would rather be killed by a quick bullet than be eaten to death. So yeah, I mean,
Even in military and war
I
movies,
don't know if
I
I personally would be able to shoot the people and my own kid like that. I mean, but I still think he was being heroic. So yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know until you're in that type of situation.
So exactly.
Anyway.
I wouldn't know what I would do personally, but I certainly understand why he did it. And like I said, in his book and all of them, like they all agreed to it. It's not like he just decided
Having gone
for
through
them.
having gone through what he did, Kroll, would you have done what he did?
Again, I don't know, but like I said, I think his decision was correct for the
Yeah,
situation.
you don't know until you're faced with these kind of things. What the fuck kind of mentality you're gonna have at the end
I
of
mean,
the thing? Are you gonna
a part of
are
me
you
is
gonna fight
always,
to survive?
hopeful that maybe that something could happen to save. So you know, I mean, maybe you know, I'd still have that hope and not do it, or wait until like I probably would have waited till like the monsters like showed up, and then was like, all right, you know, this is it, and then do it, and then let the monsters kill me or whatever. But I think I would have waited until they were actually like there, like we could physically see them, because they still had to get into the vehicle, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
From
I
the
think I would have done that too, instead of like waiting to see what the instead of because that would have been the smarter thing, to be honest. To wait at least until you know that there is no chance of survival, because at that point in time, all you heard were noises, and though they thought that this was the end, they didn't want those creatures to get them. That is why all the adults agreed that this was the last solution. That
uh,
they didn't want to die that other way. They didn't
o-
want to die horribly.
okay, from the point of view of the characters, I can somewhat understand it, but I feel as if they wrote such an ending just so that the ending wouldn't be happy, and the story could have as well worked with a happier ending. So I think this kind of ending was unnecessary.
It's a Stephen King ending, even though Stephen King didn't write it that way.
Um,
I agree with you guys though. I think I would have waited a little bit longer than he did.
um,
Waited to see what was coming, if anything was
y-
coming.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, because they still had some glass around the fucking vehicle. Yeah, the front of it was cracked a little bit, but they still had some
Yeah,
protective
still,
shit.
he still could have shot them in enough time to stop them from getting a horrible death before they were killed. So, yeah.
That's about the only thing that I would have changed. But I do still like this fucked up ending, just because
It just
you
makes
know
me think. It makes me feel like it's a Stephen King ending. You know, so like I've been saying, it feels like a Stephen King ending. Do I like it? No, but it's a Stephen King ending, so it's fitting for the movie. It fits the movie. It fits his style.
It's the story, and
Yeah,
it
and
fits his craft.
it fits his style. If you like Stephen King, then it's his style.
And if you look at it this way, Stephen King didn't have a problem with it. So
No, he probably said, "I was gonna go that way," and decided not to. But because he had to have thought of that. He had to. That's I guess he decided not to do his typical ending just to be different. But then someone else said, "No, we like your typical ending."
But in any case, I think that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed our discussion on The Mist. If you have not seen it, definitely go out and see it. It is a great movie. I think it's a great movie. At least see it one time, if anything. I know some of you don't like the blood and guts and all that jazz, but I love it.
That part, okay, I can say I enjoyed those parts, but they didn't bother me so much. But the insects and crap like that, yeah.
Then you definitely won't like Indiana Jones in any aspect.
um,
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, they're walking through a whole hallway full of bugs and shit, and she's got.
Have we done that movie?
We have not, but
Of course, we probably haven't done the first one either.
we've done it on the regular channel, Raiders of the Lost Ark. At least.
Does it count?
It doesn't count on this channel, no.
Okay, then we haven't done it.
So
Doesn't matter if we done it on the other channel.
But in any case, hopefully you get a chance to check out the movie. Let us know what you thought of our discussion down in the comments, and we'll see you next week.
I like both movies, but I actually enjoyed Temple Doom more and would have rather do that one first. But I know your thing with we got to do the first one first.
Yep, I am.
That's why I'll never be here for any Star Trek movies, because if you start with the first Star Trek movie, I'm not gonna be here. It sucked. All the other ones were decent, but that one was horrible.
I liked them all. Sorry, I'm not picky when it comes to those.
The first one was boring as fuck. What the hell was it like?
But in any case, next week I believe is Philippe's.
Nobody likes Star Trek the motion picture.
No, I didn't like the first Star Trek.
Well, that's what I just said.
I can't compare though that one.
If we gotta start with the first one, then I guess we'll probably never do Star Trek, because the first one was horrible.
Well, if we do Star Trek, I would hope that we would start with the first one, so that we
the first one was fucking horrible. I'm not gonna subject myself to that movie again. Once was enough in a lifetime.
But in any case, opinions are like assholes because everybody has them.
And they
usually stink. Get it right. If you're gonna quote it right.
But on that note, I guess Philippe, your turn is next. So have you chosen what you want to do?
Actually, I have not. I have several movies on my mind, and I have not decided on one yet.
Okay, then I guess we'll keep it kind of a surprise, but we'll be back next week.
We'll be sure to be a horror movie.
Same diluted channel, and hopefully y'all will have a great evening, morning, wherever you are. Like, share, and subscribe, and everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
And watch out, there's something in the mist.
Oh. Mm,